What is up, everybody? It's Joe from JLW Games coming at you with another cool video. Today we're back in Planet Coaster in the Intamin Multi-Launch Coaster that is, of course, inspired by Velocicoaster for the most part. And today we're going to be getting into our first bit of custom supporting for this ride. As I said before, I am going to go ahead and custom support this coaster. I'm not the best at custom supports overall, and I decided to go ahead and get the hard stuff out of the way first, and that is going to be, in my opinion, probably the hardest structure to build custom scenery or custom support wise, and that's going to be the top hat element after the second launch, which I did model a lot off of Velocicoaster, of course, is where I got my references for the support structure for this. Now I know it's not going to end up turning out perfect, but that's okay. I think visually it actually turned out really good in the end, which is actually all I could ask for, honestly. But of course, once we go along, I would love to hear what your guys' thoughts are, of course, once you see the final result of this support structure itself. I think I got a little bit more comfortable as I got further along because it did take me some time. So this episode is literally only going to be me working on the custom supporting for this top hat element, and the rest of the custom supporting should actually go pretty easily, pretty solidly fast. This is the only part that took me a while because it was a lot more of a complex structure overall, and the rest of them are just going to be generic, kind of your simple supports for most of the ride. So those are going to be a little bit easier in the long run. But these guys are going to be the tough ones. So you might notice right away, if you've watched the other two episodes, I have gotten myself a new microphone. If you've been on the Discord, you may have seen that I did get my new microphone in, and I did get the Blue Yeti X, which is kind of like an upgraded version of the regular Yeti. It's actually the Yeti X. I haven't really messed with any of the settings all that much. I'm just doing it on a generic setting at the moment, so I would love to hear what your guys' thoughts are on the new microphone. Hopefully it sounds really nice. I have the gain turned all the way down right now, and I'm really close to the mic for these voiceovers, so hopefully it comes through nice and clear. That is the goal overall for this. So anyways, this project is pretty awesome. A lot of you guys have been commenting on the other videos a lot, and I'm actually getting a lot of advice and a lot of ideas where the series is going to go from here. So everything you see is never final, so I want to make sure you guys know that I'm always going to have the urge to change some stuff. I think I am going to change the layout of the end of the ride, because I really don't like that helix at the end. I really want to do something else that's a little bit better. The helix seemed the best way to get it back to the brake run the best, to try and connect it, but maybe I can figure something else out as well. So hopefully that will turn out. Hopefully my shaping turned out okay on the top hat. I know it's probably not the most perfect, but I think it turned out pretty solidly. I think the shaping turned out great. It's more of a mirror. It's kind of a mirrored version of Velocicoaster's top hat, so it is kind of backwards. So I had to really think through it at first when I was building the supports, and I had to mirror everything. So hopefully I didn't make any major errors. I think, again, the structure turned out pretty well, pretty good. And for the connection here, I did use, for the connectors here from the track to the supports, I kind of went with this kind of style, which is all in-game parts. I don't want to try and limit, especially on these support structures, I want to limit the toolkit items that I do use for this. I think I already have, so using some toolkit items for the build. Hopefully I do keep the build down underneath the Steam Workshop thing, for the blueprints. That way I can just upload the coaster itself to the workshop as well, so you guys have that available if you just want to plop it into your park, and not just the park download as well, because usually when I do these, I do like to do two separate uploads, one for just the ride itself, and then the other with the actual park, so you can get the full experience with all the scenery around it, because I will do some paths and some queues and everything like that. just for funsies as well. So I do want to also emphasize again that this is, yes, inspired by Velocicoaster, but it's going to be a more generic theme. So you're not going to be seeing a lot of the rock work and, you know, the show scenes and all that fun stuff that the ride probably does have. Again, I haven't spoiled myself for the ride yet, so I haven't looked up any official POVs. I've seen like some layout POVs, but that's it. I want to be surprised for all the special effects and all that fun stuff and the theming and aspects and stuff. I do want to be surprised when I do ride it. Hopefully I will get on it sometime either later this year or early next year. I'm starting to try. I'm actually doing some early planning for a Florida trip, so hopefully I can get down to Florida to ride Velocicoaster because it's calling my name, man. And I gotta get on it pretty soon, or I'm gonna go insane. So, yeah. So once we got that, this is the main parts here. I think we got the main parts here for the first structure, and that is the turn up into the top hat. So it's got that little twisted hill going up, and then you have the big drop and coming off at the top. So that is the big structure here. I think we just got the footers just left, and then we start on the second structure for that as well. Actually, I think I did do a support or two on the entrance of this as well. So I did do a couple small supports leading up into these larger supports for the top hat as well. I think they turned out pretty good. I do believe that the structures do look pretty solid. And of course, if you guys have any tips, tricks, or anything that could potentially make it better, please let me know. I'm always for making my builds a little bit better, and I am thinking about going back into the layout a few and touching up a few spots to make it just a little bit better as well. So again, I'm probably going to touch up the end of the ride and get rid of that helix and replace it with some other element that would probably work a little bit better, and probably just, I don't know, you know, just probably something a little, either a little more intense or just something that's just not so generic, I guess, because that helix at the end, I don't know, I just don't like it. For some reason, I just don't care for it. So, I'm just going to leave it at that. So, anyways, the color scheme, of course, is the white supports with the very dark blue-ish. I think it's kind of like a dark blue track. It probably looks more of a black color than anything, but it is kind of like a dark blue kind of color. If you look really, really, really closely, that's the color that I went with for this. You always want to make sure before you do custom supports that you do know your color scheme that you're going to roll with. And I'm pretty happy with this color scheme as well. So the way it is shaping up at the moment, because I wanted it to be similar to Velocicoaster, but not too close. So I did make the supports white, and of course the track is not fully black. I think Velocicoaster is just black track. I can't actually tell if it has a tint of color to it. And if you know that, please let me know in the comments if it's not just solid black. I know a lot of people, you know, on camera it can kind of be hard to tell if something is has a tint of color to it. But if you look again really closely, you can see that there's that little tint of blue on this track. So it is kind of like that dark grayish blue for the most part, which is quite nice. So going over here into the second structure, it is very similar to the other structure, but mine ended up being just a little bit smaller. Now this drop is probably similar to the angle of descent as Velocicoaster. Velocicoaster's angle, I believe, is an 80-degree drop. This should be somewhere around that range. When I built it, I think I made it around 85 degrees or something. That way when you smooth it, because when you smooth it out, it's going to change that angle slightly and make it the angle a little bit less. So it's probably close to 80, if not right at. So that was kind of the goal. So anytime you do a hill and you're gonna smooth the heck out of it, you excuse me, sorry, first time I actually coughed in the video. Great. But anyways, once you do that, you always, because you're gonna smooth the heck out of it, you always want to kind of overshoot it, and that's kind of how I do with my banking and stuff like that. Always overshoot it because the smoothing is going to unbank it or undo kind of what you kind of did a little bit. So you got to kind of prepare for that just a bit. So that's kind of the idea there. So, yep, I think this structure did turn out great. I'm pretty proud of it. And hopefully, maybe I'll create something like this once more again. So I know you guys like these little side small projects. I do as well, because they keep me busy, and the episodes are really fun to actually make, because they're just fun and they're easy to make as well, and pretty quick to make, you know, besides the recording process. Recording process is probably the hardest part, just because it does take time to create a time lapse, you know. Condensing over an hour of gameplay into about 13 or less minutes is kind of the part that's just time consuming. But editing and recording is actually some of the easiest work on for these videos, so which is nice. So I've never actually made connectors for excuse me, a track like this, and so hopefully what I've done is pretty good. Thankfully I haven't made too many just yet, so if you guys think there is a better way to have track connectors for this type of track, please let me know. But I kind of like how this turned out, so I probably won't change them unless I find a really good reason to do so, because I thought this piece worked really well. You just plop that down, put in the flange piece and at the end, and it actually works quite well for this type of style. I know, like your regular Intamin, I'd probably use the Intamin connectors that I have in the Steam Workshop from the Theme Maker's Toolkit is probably what I would use if it was like a normal type of Intamin track. But this is kind of like a different style of Intamin track that is only on not too many coasters out there. I think Velocicoaster has this type of style. I think Intimidator 305 has this style in some spots. It kind of switches. There's a lot of Intamins. The track style kind of switches throughout the layout, so it just kind of depends. And I felt like this type of track did kind of resemble Velocicoaster's track the best, and it's actually kind of exact in some spots, which is kind of cool. So again, I did use the was it the Formula Rossa? Yeah, it was the Formula Rossa track type that's inspired by Formula Rossa. So I believe its track is reminiscent of Velocicoaster as well. So that's what I use. But that's going to about do it for this episode. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure you comment, like, and subscribe for more amazing content like this. And of course, let me know how the mic sounds and everything. Love to hear you guys in the comments. So make sure you guys have a great day and be cooler tomorrow. Thanks so much, and goodbye.